Yo, what's up, guys? This is Technical Tim here, and I'm here to just recap UFC 236. And usually when I do these, I kind of just talk about it from a betting and technical perspective, and just kind of an overall recap perspective. And I kind of tell you who I bet before the fight, and then kind of what I was thinking before the fight and what I was thinking after the fight, and just kind of going from there and seeing where we go. Overall, lost 3 units. I felt like I generally had some good reads. Had a little bit of unluckiness, a little bit of kind of just like random shit happening, but risking 14 units, losing 3, and like I had like a swing fight that I feel like could have gone my way, and that would have made it a profitable night. So it's like fine, not great, but it is what it is. I mean, the overall important thing is to just like, when you have a losing night, is to not lose big, because that's fine. Because the winning nights and the real obvious fights to bet come, but you just have to kind of minimize those losing nights. It's whenever you lose like 17 units, like when guys do that is when you really can dig yourself in a hole. Like 3 unit losses, salvageable. But sorry, I'm looking at my computer because I have some notes and I want to look at the fights to go through. But all right, let's start the first fight of the night: Brandon Davis and Randy Costa. So I did a preview video on this. I stayed away. I didn't really have any. Like, looking at Costa's tape, I was just kind of like, yeah, like he's probably got some pop. He might stick around for a while. Like maybe he ends up being better than we think, and he can hang for a while. So I didn't really like have any opinions. Was a little dicey for Davis, but I thought Davis was probably the right play in hindsight, of course. Because even though Costa was hurting him, it was kind of like if he didn't hurt him, he wasn't going to win the prolonged exchanges. That's kind of how I felt about that fight. But yeah, it just is what it is. Next fight, Botelho and Mueller. I had thought about playing Botelho a little bit, but I was just like, I was a little worried of Mueller getting, and it kind of played a little bit in exchanges. I thought her pressure and her clinch, like holding her up against the cage, Botelho, because there was like a 15-minute fight versus Pearl Gonzalez where Botelho just got held up against the cage. And I thought Botelho would be the better striker at distance and be better on the floor, which he kind of was. But I was a little worried about the clinch. The cardio of Mueller was the surprising thing, because she slowed down before. So I thought that was kind of a little bit of surprising. But I figure the line is probably about right. I feel like Botelho should probably be about a 2-1 favorite, which she was kind of around there. Even though Mueller came on strong, she was outmatched whenever there wasn't a cardio, just like whenever they were at the same level of cardio. So, but I didn't play that fight. Montel Jackson, Sukumtao. I had Jackson, and just like I had his earlier lines. I tracked. I got him at like -300 something, like really early, like right whenever he first opened. So I played that, and then I also like parlayed his money line in a couple 2-leg parlays. And the way I saw this is Sukumtao had to be KO or bust, and I don't play big favorites like this even in parlays that often, but you can still find value in big favorites. It's just you got to look at the implied percentages, and the implied percentages are saying he was going to win like, you know, about 80% of the time, and I thought it was higher than that. And I thought if they fight 10 times, he wins 9 or 10, like honestly. So I thought he was like about in the 90% range, you know, like 93%, right around there. So yeah, like, so I hit him in a couple parlays. So that was cool. And like, yeah, he pretty much won every minute of that fight. And one judge gave it 29-27, which I was just kind of like, what the fuck was that? So that was kind of weird. Because I don't see how you could give Sukumtao a round. He pretty much he was having trouble getting in on the range. Oh, one thing I want to talk about Montel. he's really good at getting far side wrist control up against the exchanges. So he'll have a body lock, and he'll grab onto your wrist, on your far wrist. Then he'll work takedowns from that too, and he also does it on the floor to then open up ground and pound. So he does some good stuff there, so that was cool. Next fight, Belal Muhammad and Curtis Millender. I was on Muhammad here, a few units in that hit, and the reason I was on him, obviously, it was all about the takedown here. And one before I get to the takedown, one misread, I think, like, I didn't see many people really. I think it's because it wasn't that relevant for Muhammad's win condition, because it was really like, if he got him down, he was going to dominate, so people didn't really pay attention. But I didn't see a lot of people, and myself included, talk about how Muhammad could get on the inside a little bit and just have the faster hands, because Millender has a good jab and a good power punch, but he doesn't throw combos quickly. So Muhammad can win in the pocket, and I don't think, and he did. He outstruck Millender almost. There were times when Millender, I think in round one, he did a good job. But even that round one was pretty close. I gave it to Millender, and I think 2 judges did, which is cool. But, it was still a pretty close round, and it was highly contested on the feet. So that's pretty impressive for Muhammad. And then I thought round 2 and 3, even when it didn't go down to the floor, I thought Muhammad got the better of the striking exchanges by just being quicker with his hands in the pocket. But one thing I wanted to bring up is, getting to the wrestling, the reason why I knew Muhammad, if he went for his deep double leg, which he does a lot in all his fights. And remember, I talked about that fight metric video. You can look at fight metric for grappling willingness, but not grappling effectiveness. And you could see it was key. If Muhammad went for a lot of takedowns, he'd probably win this fight, and he goes for them all the time. So, but also for effectiveness, I saw on tape that his deep double was going to work. And the people who I talk fights with, I was talking to them during the first round, and Muhammad it was a bad read by his camp. They had a really good read with the punches in the pocket, because he was obviously at an advantage there. But he shouldn't have gone for clinch TDs, because that gives Millender opportunities to kind of think and go for underhooks and not have to because a guy like him, he's really inexperienced stopping takedowns, so they kind of have to think through the motion. So when you put him up against the cage a little bit, it gives him opportunities just to kind of use athleticism and just think about digging underhooks and get corner instructions too. And whenever you shoot just a blast, a double leg, and lock your hands, he can't stop those. And I looked at his previous fights, and I found in his career, in his last 12 fights, I think I saw 9 takedowns that got landed on him with a deep doubles, and that's what Muhammad does. And I didn't do a preview video on this because people buy my picks. I wanted to give them a good pick that I didn't give everyone else, but I thought this was just an easy money fight personally. Because the double leg was so obvious to me on tape, and he was going for the clinch early, and it was pissing me off in round 1 because he just needed to go for the double leg. And then he shot the double, got it in round 2, and I was telling everyone who I was talking fights with that in round 3 he has to shoot the double leg again, because if he gets it, he's going to land it every time. And then he shot it and got on top, and then, top position is, once he's on top, it's pretty easy for him, so I won't go into that. But yeah, so the double leg was the key to that fight, and I'm glad he figured it out later in the fight, because he shoots them all the time, and then he started doing clinch TDs, and it was kind of pissing me off. He could have won that fight even easier than he did, and he still won pretty easily. So yeah, I cashed in on that one. Boston Salmon, Taha, I had no interest in playing this fight. I had a tough time getting a read on either guy, because and Salmon hadn't fought the greatest competition, so I didn't really know. Saw a lot of people playing him. He closed at -175, and I was like, fuck, man. But I didn't play it, so not much to say there. Max Griffin, Imadet, Zaleem. I'm going to be as fair as I can. Because I want to be self-critical, but I also want to be, like, real. I thought it was a draw, first of all. I thought round one was max, and then you got the point deduction, which I thought there was a little bit of a quick trigger on the point deduction if you judge it in a historical context. I do think in an ideal, like, scenario, that should be a point deduction, but judging, like, everything else, like how it's usually reffed, I thought that was a quick trigger. But, because, I mean, Mark Goddard in the Jalen Turner fight, there was an up kick that just stung him, and he didn't take a point, and that was I thought that had more fight-ending effect, that Jalen Turner up kick that he ate. But, so yeah, like, I get the point deduction, but I thought for a historical context, it was a little bit of a quick trigger. But I still thought it was a draw. Like, I thought Zaleem definitely won round two, and he was fucking him up in round two. That was, like, the most clear round of the fight. And then in round three, I thought, God, like, I hate recency bias at the end of rounds, because I rewatched the round, and Zaleem won, like, the first 3 minutes of 45 seconds by just walking him down and landing at will. And then Max landed, like, he had, like, 2 moments of landing strikes, and then, like, failed a takedown attempt. And he had, like, 2 moments at the end of the round, and then, like, 2 judges just, like, gave him the round. Just because, like, the crowd cheered, because he had, like, 2 moments at the end of the round, but they sometimes, like, neglect. I get if you're on top of someone, like, mounted, and you could have maybe finished the fight or something at the end of the round, but not just, like, landing in an exchange. That's stupid, because it just kind of neglects the rest of the round. So, like, I thought I thought it should have been a draw, personally. And as far as value goes, and I'm going to get to a pick where I don't think I was, like, on the right side of the value. I think I was on the right side of the value here. Because it really showed, like, Imadeev was a better striker, and the pressure was getting to him, and that's kind of what I assumed on the feet. And as far as the grappling goes, Griffin kind of caught his back early in that first round. And other than that, he really didn't have any moments on the fight, really, on the feet or with grappling. In round 2 and 3, he really got nothing going. And then other than round 1, by just getting his back early, he just kind of caught him out of position. He didn't do much. Like, there's no, if that makes sense. And I'm not trying to be salty, but I do feel like Zaleem should be favored going forward. It was just like the sequencing of events is what won Max a fight, because he got the point deduction, and then in round 3, he just kind of, like, landed, like, 2 strikes at the end of the round. And because, I mean, he lost the significant strike battle and the total strike battle in this fight, too. And with his takedowns, other than that one in round 1, his takedowns, he had, like, no top time later in the round. So I just, like, when judging how a fight should be capped later, kind of after seeing it, I just look at, like, who has the more offense that can land considerably, and I feel like Zaleem did. And he hurt Max a lot. Like, Max was hurt and wobbled a lot, and Zaleem was never really hurt. And other than just, like, kind of, like, fighting a rear naked choke, like, other than, like, a failed submission attempt for Griffin, I just feel like he didn't do much. So I thought it should have been a draw because of the point deduction, but if the point deduction shouldn't have happened, I thought Zaleem should have got a clear decision. So, and I think on MMA decisions, like, 95% of people had it a draw. So I thought I was a little unlucky, and if, like, that fight, that was a swing fight, and that would have given me a profitable night. So that's why I'm not, like, too upset on the night, because I feel like I had good reads overall, except in a fight later that I'll be talking about. So yeah, that's kind of what it is. Sorry for ranting on that one, but I just kind of wanted to, like, and I'm not saying, like, Griffin has no chance of winning going forward. I'm just saying I feel like Zaleem should be favored a little bit, but sorry for ranting about that one. But I just kind of wanted to get my thoughts out there. Pantoja and Wilson. I almost played Pantoja. This is probably my other regret of the night, but I didn't do it. I talked with some dudes on Twitter, and I was like thinking about playing him. I taped him, earlier this week, and I didn't pull the trigger, but can't. It is what it is. But nice KO, nice finish by Pantoja. Turner for Vola. I had no action here. This is another one. Like, I had no action here, so I'm not even being biased. This was a weirdly judged fight, too. Like, I get that Frivola could potentially get all 3 rounds. There was some weird judging tonight. I was surprised he won all 3 rounds on all 3 judges' scorecards, because, like, round 1, he got dropped, like, multiple times. I think I put a lot of stock into, just, like, knockdowns and things like that, and just, like, big striking moments. And it's funny because I come from a wrestling background, but I mean, I favor control, if not like grappling control, like Frivola did, if not many other things happened. But Turner landed some big shots, like I feel like throughout the fight, and I can't believe like Goddard didn't take a point away for that up kick. I thought that was weird, but I still thought Frivola like probably should have got the nod. And I didn't even have an action on this fight. I just thought it was weird that like he got 30-27 on all 3 cards. But what you gonna do? Next fight, I didn't have this tracked, but I had a little bit of untracked play on Fight Doesn't Go the Distance earlier in the week. I got like -2 something. Didn't play the fight. I was honestly going back and forth, and then I'm not just saying this because he won. I was kind of leaning Krylov towards the end of this week, but I didn't want to play him. I didn't feel that strongly about it. I figured I'll just play the Fight Doesn't Go the Distance and, pay a bit of a premium on it, but it ended up cashing, so. But it was a little bit of a shit. I mean, fights like that, when fighters like trade amount and stuff, I don't like betting on those fights. So Dwight Grant Joban, this was my worst bet of the night because I played 1 unit on Grant KO, and he did land some shots in round 1 especially. Sorry guys, I'm not feeling well today. Let me get a drink real quick. But I thought I think just going forward, like I hit Grant KO at like +430 against Pedersoli, like a couple months back, and he moves backwards too much, man. He just doesn't create enough opportunities to land. I thought him moving backwards, and it's not that I didn't notice that. Like, I mean, I know Dwight Grant's game. I thought Joban gets countered with kicks very easily, and I thought it would set up Grant's straight punch. And he did land some shots, but it was just kind of ended up like the Grant and Otto fight where just there wasn't much engagement. And I think you just can't play Grant KO going forward. If it's like +500 or something like it was against Pedersoli maybe, but not like, I got it at like +200. And I only played a unit, so I shouldn't be too hard on myself, but I thought, it was just like, he backs up too much. It's just as simple as that. Okay, and then next fight, Eric Handers, Khalil Rountree. I'm gonna get some shit from you guys for this one. I'm gonna be fair here, too. Obviously, like, if I would have known Anders wasn't gonna even try to clinch up or go for takedowns, I wouldn't have played him. But I'm gonna say, like, I'm gonna be fair here. I'm gonna like not take some blame in one area, but then take blame in another area. But I mean, I obviously wouldn't have played him if he was just gonna stand there and like not even go for takedowns, not even go for single legs, like. People talking about Roundtree's takedown defense, it's not good. Like, it's just not. Like, people who cashed in on the night, like, I'm happy for those people, but at the same time, like, picking him because of takedown defense, that's, like, not it. Like, obviously, I think anyone would have picked Roundtree if we would have known it was just going to be, like, a 3-round kickboxing match on the outside where Anders didn't even pressure him with strikes, like, and he didn't ever even try to engage grappling. He like dove for a half-ass single leg after his leg got chopped off at the end of the second round because he just stood there. But so like so like obviously like I'm not mad on that, because if you and so then the response to that is going to be like, but Anders has bad fight IQ. Now this is what I do want to talk about, and this is where I will take a little blame. I do agree he's had some issues where he didn't always fight for the best way for him to win in previous fights, but it was mostly because of volume. It wasn't because he didn't decide not to grapple. Like go watch his fight. Like if you really just go through all of his fights, like Elias Theodorou, he probably fought in that fight like he should. He just like, there's no point of grappling Theodorou, and he's just a low output guy. Like having low output, sorry guys, but having low output, I don't think that's like game planning or fight IQ. That's just like a skill. Like Max Holloway can just throw more output than other people. It's a skill. I don't think like people can just choose to throw more because it's just like not in their abilities. I mean, I guess like you could at sometimes, but like he's just like a lower output guy, and that's just like how he fights. Like I don't think he could just start throwing a bunch of combinations. That's just not in his fighting ability. I don't think it's like a choice or anything. What is fight IQ is deciding whether or not to grapple. And if you go through all of his fights, I'll talk about him here, and really think about like how he fought in each fight. I don't think he has bad fight IQ until this fight. Like now I agree. Like now going forward, I agree he has terrible fight IQ. But if you just go through his fights, Elias Theodorou, he fought that fight like he should have. He pressured when he could, and he got outputted, but he fought fine in that fight. Like he threw some power, he cut off the cage well. Like if I was his coach, I would tell him to like walk him down and land the power shots and don't grapple with Elias, because Anders probably can't out grapple him. So like he fought like he should have in that, okay? Thiago Santos, in that fight, I think he fought exactly how he should have and how he should have fought here. If you can take down Thiago Santos and get his back, you can get Khalil Roundtree's back. And so like in that fight, I thought he fought like he should have, quite honestly. Tim Williams, I think he fought how he should have in that fight too. He tried to walk him down, kind of like against Elias Theodorou, land his power shots. Machida, I thought he fought like he should have in that fight too. He shouldn't have engaged in the wrestling, and so like he might get outputted on the feet, because that's just part of his skill. That's just part of who he is. Like he just doesn't throw a lot of punches, but he was kind of the aggressor in that fight. Like I thought he fought fine. Marcus Perez, I thought he fought well in that one too. He pressured and then he grappled whenever he needed to. He clinched up when he needed to, and he did that to Machida too. And I'm not going to keep ranting about this, but just one more thing. His last 2 LFA fights, like which were his fights before Perez, he went for like 7 takedowns in each of those fights, and he constantly clinched. So like he pretty much clinches and wrestles in every fight except for 2, and that was Elias Theodorou and Tim Williams, and kind of Machida, which are like 3 fights it's understanding to not grapple in those situations. So I just think I don't think he's shown bad fight IQ in the past. I think he's just a low volume guy, and I think people don't distinguish those 2 things correctly. This was the first fight where it was fight IQ. This was fucking fight IQ. And I'm not that mad at my pick, because I couldn't have known that, because I don't think he had a fight IQ in the past. I thought he had low output in the past, if that makes sense. People are going to disagree with me here, but that's like my reasoning on it. And, but maybe because, like, maybe I shouldn't have bet as much as I did. I didn't, I bet a few units on him, so it didn't, like, kill me or anything. I didn't have, like, 9 units on the guy, but I had a few. So maybe I should have lowered the bet a little bit because but still, like, I don't know. Like, I couldn't have known he was just never going to clinch. And he didn't even get to slow Khalil down. Khalil gasses in every fight, so sorry about that rant, guys, but I just kind of wanted to, like, throw out my reasoning here. So, yeah. But at the same time, like, going forward, I'm not going to make that mistake again on Anders. I won't be expecting him to grapple now that I know that. The next fight was, I think the next one was the real good one. It is Israel and Gastelum. So this one I had a good read on. So, like, the ones I didn't have, the one I really didn't have a good read on was Grant KO. And then Anders, I'm not, like, that mad at that pick. And even, maybe I just shouldn't have gone as big as I did. And then Imadaev, I thought I had a good read. Like, I kind of talked about the pressure and stuff, and I just thought that was, like, a weirdly judged fight and shit. But, Grant was a bad pick, though. But Israel and Gastelum, I ended up playing Israel. So I had a preview on this, and I don't know if you guys could tell, but I was playing Israel. And, I said not to play Gastelum, so at least out of, like, a few of those previews, this one gave you guys some advice. But, you know, the other ones didn't work out, but it is what it is. Last 2 weeks before that, we had good previews. You're going to win some and lose some. But I thought Israel looked really good, personally. And I thought Gastelum looked really good, too. But Gastelum's paths to victory, like I had talked about in the preview, the double leg was the way he got the takedowns. Up against the clinch, he couldn't get him down. So as far as takedowns go, but at the same time, I talked about it, Israel uses his feet well to push people off and get separation and get up, and he did that. So I thought he looked really... So, like, the fight kind of went how I thought. I didn't expect Gastelum to hit him with a head kick, though. So it was kind of like, whatever, like... He hit him with a head kick. I do think Gastelum landed a little cleaner than I expected him to, but at the same time, and I'm not trying to disrespect Kelvin, I don't think he really... Like if you think about the fight, I thought Israel kind of dominated. I know it was 48-46 and it was tied going into round 5, but just... I think Israel was a clear value side. Even he got down to like minus 140. So, I think he should probably be about minus 250 to 300. Like, I think he wins this fight about 70 to 75% of the time, and I'm going to tell you why. Round 1 was kind of predictable for Kelvin to maybe win because Israel was just feeling him out, and that's kind of why Kelvin got some success. Like, Israel was making reads. He's a precision striker, so it kind of made sense. And that round 1 was still kind of close, but I did think Gastelum got it. So it's like, Kelvin won the first round due to kind of a feeling out process for Israel. And then after that, round 2 to 5, Israel, outside of that head kick exchange, pretty much dominated. And just think about round 2, he clearly won. I can't remember all these rounds exactly. I think round 3 was the round where he hurt him really bad. He hurt Kelvin really bad, or maybe it was round 2, one of those early rounds. But he pretty clearly won round 2 and 3. And then round 4, he was clearly winning until a head kick kind of just landed. So it's and then round 5, he almost got finished and got 10-8'd. So it's from 2 to 5. And Gastelum would occasionally land, in rounds. I'm not saying he did nothing. I'm just saying, he was losing the exchanges clearly at the same time. I don't know. Let's look. I don't know what the numbers say. They're probably closer, but, Israel was hitting him hard, man. I can't believe Kelvin's got a fucking chin on him. But so I'm just saying, going forward, if they fought more times, I just feel like Kelvin could have some success early, but then when Israel gets the range down, he's pretty much going to dominate, and Kelvin can't really get the grappling going, which I kind of expected. Like, the fight went how I thought, it's just I didn't expect a head kick to land. So, let's find this. I want to look at the striking statistics. Sorry, guys. I just want to make sure I'm not, like, talking out of my ass, because if, like... The striking statistics were, like... Yeah, like, so it was 120 to 90. So, like, Israel landed, like, you know, a pretty clear amount more. It was close. I didn't think it was that close, but Israel was landing the much more meaningful shots, though. I felt like I mean, he was just hitting him clean with straight punches, and just I couldn't believe Gastelum survived. But if that makes sense, I just thought Gastelum really, his only moments were kind of like early in the feeling out process and a head kick, and then other than that, he was landing shots and very competitive. I'm just saying he wasn't winning like any of the other exchanges where he was clearly winning rounds. That's kind of what I'm getting at. So I cashed on Israel in that fight, so that's cool. And then last fight of the night, Holloway-Poirier. Didn't have any action on this. I'll be completely honest, I kind of went back and forth. There are times when I thought, I'm going to play Holloway, and then there are times where I thought maybe to play Poirier, and I was like, no, let's just stay away and be disciplined and not fuck around. This was another weirdly judged fight. Like, I'll tell you how I judged it. I thought round one was I didn't, before I go into the judging, I didn't think Poirier's like I knew he had more power, but I didn't think it was going to be that big of an impact, like to where he could swing multiple rounds. Like I thought he could maybe land and sting Max and get him a little hesitant at times, but I didn't think he could just like change it to where he could win a round he was losing. Because I mean, he won like multiple rounds that he was losing via power. And so I didn't think it was going to be like that dramatic of an X factor. But I thought, essentially I thought that round one, I thought it was Poirier. Like, he landed some big shots. And forgive me, guys, like I'm going off memory here, so if I'm like mixing anything up, I apologize. But round one, I thought he clearly won. Round two, I think I remember thinking it was close, but I leaned Poirier in that round. Like, I think that was a round where Max was winning, and then Dustin landed big at the end. So that happened, and fuck, like, I'm probably mixing these rounds up, so I'm probably all over the place. But then round three, I think, yeah, I remember now. Round three, I thought Max clearly took it. Like, he pretty much took it to him. And then round four, I thought this was another round, kind of like round two, except even more of like it was even more one-sided, and then there was even for Max, and then it was even more of like a big moment for Poirier, where in round four I thought Max was dominating, and then he just got cracked. I think it was with a knee that split him open, and then whenever blood comes on his face, like, I knew he was gonna get the round. So it's like Max was winning, and then he just got cracked. And then round five, I thought Holloway won, but it looks like every judge gave it to Poirier. Because, I mean, the judges went 49-46, and I disagree with that. I think it was probably 3-2 for Poirier. I think that's a fair, but that's like another one. Like, I get Poirier can win. It's kind of like the Frivola one, but every fucking judge had 49-46. I thought that was a little odd, in my opinion. But, yeah, and like round four was weird because Max was winning it, and then he got cracked. But then Max also had like a fight-ending anaconda at the end of the round. Like, I know it happened with like only 2 seconds left, but I mean, that was locked in. I think it was an anaconda. It could have been a Darce. I can't remember. But these fights are fucking crazy, so I don't remember everything. But yeah, overall, it was kind of it's a fine night. It's whatever. Like, I lost 3 units. I think track, tracked I lost 3. I think untracked I lost 2. So it wasn't like a terrible night or anything. It was just kind of it was just a little disappointing because of the Emma day off. Like I feel like that was a draw. I just don't get it. And yeah, I apologize, guys, for Anders. I just didn't. I didn't expect him to not go for takedowns for like the reasons I had talked about earlier. So it kind of backfired there. But I think I generally had good reads. I had good reads on Israel. Anders was kind of just like, fuck, man, like terrible fight IQ, and I'm definitely gonna now know that going forward. Zaleem, I thought was a fine read. I'm not saying there was like insane value on him, but I thought he was the value side, and I thought it was a draw, and he would have won the fight if it wasn't a point deduction. Bilal, clear value. Montel was good, and then Grant didn't hit. So it's really just kind of like a couple fights, but I feel like I generally had good reads except Grant. So, and then Anders is just kind of like what the fuck ever type of thing. So yeah, that's everything. If you have any comments or anything, comment below and message me on Twitter. But thank you so much, guys. Bye.